Well, yesterday was a busy day. There are three stories I'm going to talk about today. First, yesterday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi rejected two of the Republicans' picks for the January 6th commission. She rejected Representatives Jim Banks and Jim Jordan over concern about their previous statements and actions regarding the attack on the Capitol. So House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is taking his proverbial ball and going home by pulling off 5 Republicans he named to the committee, saying he'd launch a separate investigation. McCarthy claims that Nancy Pelosi is playing political games, but McCarthy's press conference yesterday was disingenuous political theater of the highest order. He knows Pelosi has the right to reject appointees, and he knows why she rejected them. Even yesterday, Jordan seemed to suggest the insurrection was the fault of Pelosi and Black Lives Matter. McCarthy and his cronies have no interest in getting at the truth. Secondly, police in the district in Prince George's County are enacting new initiatives to try and stop gun violence. This comes on the heels of mass shootings in both jurisdictions in the past week. Look, I hope the initiatives work and violent crime is slowed down. It's good to see police listening to the communities they serve. Let's hope we see real results soon. And finally, the Norwegian women's handball team was fined $1,700 by the European Handball Association. Their transgression: refusing to play in bikini bottoms during the Euro 2021 tournament. You heard that right, refusing to wear bikini bottoms. Instead, they were wearing thigh-length elastic shorts. Now, while male players can play in tank tops and shorts, the women are required to wear midriff-bearing tops and bikini bottoms. The policy is sexist, misogynistic, and plain wrong. Norway plans to submit a motion to change the policy in November. Let's hope that the sport's governing body joins the 21st century and stops trying to sexualize its female athletes. Have a great Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow.